There are matches that simply fill a spot on the tournament schedule. Then there are matches that feel much bigger than the scoreboard itself. This is one of them. When Alex Eala walks onto the court to face Olympic champion Qinwen Zheng at the Citi Open in Washington, fans won't just be watching another early round battle. They'll be watching two athletes whose careers are moving in very different directions. One try to confirm she's ready for the sport's biggest stage, and the other determined to remind the tennis world why she's already one of its biggest stars. Over the past few months, Alex Eala has transformed from a promising young talent into one of the most talked-about names in women's tennis. Every tournament seems to bring another breakthrough, another headline, and another reason why tennis fans across the world are beginning to believe that something truly special is happening. But now comes perhaps one of her biggest challenges yet. Standing across the net is Qinwen Zheng, a player whose explosive power, athleticism, and experience against the world's elite have earned her respect everywhere she competes. Matches like this don't come around often for rising stars. They're the kind of opportunities that can change perceptions overnight. And that's exactly why this showdown has captured so much attention. For Alex Eala, this isn't just about winning another match. It's about measuring herself against one of the biggest names in the game. Every rally, every service game, and every crucial point will reveal just how close she is to joining tennis' elite group of players on a consistent basis. However, the story becomes even more fascinating when you look beyond the rankings. Both players arrive in Washington carrying very different expectations. Qinwen Zheng enters the tournament with the pressure that comes from being an established star. Fans expect victories. Opponents bring their very best against her every single match. There is little room for mistakes when you're one of the tour's biggest names. Alex Eala, meanwhile, is experiencing something completely different. Every victory increases the expectations surrounding her career. Every impressive performance creates even greater excitement back home in the Philippines, where millions are following her journey with enormous pride. That kind of momentum can inspire a player. It can also create pressure unlike anything they've experienced before. So the biggest question isn't simply whether Alex Eala can compete with Qinwen Zheng. The real question is whether she can embrace this moment without allowing its importance to overwhelm her. Few players get opportunities like this early in their careers. Even fewer are able to take advantage of them. That's why this match has become one of the most anticipated contests of the Citi Open. It's not only about who advances to the next round. It's about discovering whether Alex Eala's remarkable rise is ready for another giant step forward, or whether Qinwen Zheng's experience will once again prove why success at the highest level is never easy to achieve. And perhaps the most intriguing part of all, the styles of these two players promise a fascinating battle. One relies heavily on controlled aggression, intelligent point construction, and remarkable composure. The other possesses a kind of explosive power capable of ending rallies in just a few shots. When those contrasting approaches collide on a hard court, momentum can shift in an instant. One brilliant return, one missed forehand, one fearless winner. Sometimes, that's all it takes to change everything. But before the first ball is even struck, there are already several storylines quietly shaping what could become one of the most memorable matches of the tournament. And that's where this story truly begins. For Alex Eala, matches like this aren't simply another opportunity to earn ranking points. They represent a chance to answer the question that every rising star eventually faces. Can you consistently challenge the very best? The Citi Open provides a perfect stage to begin answering that question. Played on hard courts during the North American summer swing, the tournament is far more than a stop between Grand Slam events. It serves as an important measuring stick for players preparing for the U.S. Open. Every match carries momentum, confidence, and valuable experience that can shape the rest of the season. That makes this encounter even more compelling. From the opening warm-up, expect both players to understand exactly what's at stake. Qinwen Zheng has built her reputation on taking control early. Her first serve is one of the biggest weapons in women's tennis, often allowing her to dictate points before rallies even begin. When she's landing a high percentage of first serves, opponents are immediately placed under pressure. Alex Eala knows that better than anyone. Against a player with Zheng's power, allowing short rallies usually favors a higher-ranked competitor. That means Eala's priorities become very clear from the opening game. She'll need to neutralize the serve. She'll need to extend rallies. Most importantly, she'll need to remain patient. That patience has become one of the defining characteristics of her recent success. Instead of forcing spectacular winners at every opportunity, Eala has developed a mature understanding of point construction. She waits for the right moment to attack. She changes direction intelligently. She absorbs pace exceptionally well and often turns defense into offense within a single exchange. Those qualities have impressed analysts throughout her recent rise. But against Zheng, they'll be tested like never before, because Zheng doesn't simply hit the ball hard. She applies constant pressure. Every aggressive forehand asks another question. Every deep return pushes opponents further behind the baseline. And when she senses hesitation, she rarely allows an opponent back into the point. However, that's only one side of the story. Few people realize that powerful players can also become vulnerable when opponents refuse to give them easy winners. Long rallies demand patience. They demand precision. And eventually, they demand decision-making under pressure. That's exactly where Eala hopes this match will be played. Instead of trying to overpower Zheng shot for shot, expect her to rely on movement, consistency, and intelligent court positioning. If she can make Zheng hit one extra shot, then another, and another, the balance of the match can slowly begin to change. Of course, tennis isn't won only through tactics. The emotional battle often proves just as important. For Qinwen Zheng, expectations follow every tournament she enters. Being one of the sport's established stars means every opponent sees you as a statement victory. Every match becomes someone's opportunity to produce a career-defining performance. Handling that pressure requires enormous mental discipline. Meanwhile, Alex Eala enters with a completely different mindset. She's carrying confidence earned through months of impressive performances, yet she's still developing the experience that only comes from repeatedly facing the world's elite. That's what makes this contest so fascinating. It's youth against experience, momentum against proven success, a fearless challenger against an established champion. And history has shown that when those ingredients come together, the outcome is rarely predictable. One early service break can completely alter the rhythm. A dramatic tiebreak can shift momentum for an entire match. Sometimes the smallest moments become the biggest turning points. Perhaps that's why tennis fans around the world have been eagerly anticipating this showdown. They're not simply expecting powerful rallies. They're expecting a battle of intelligence, a battle of composure, and, perhaps most importantly, a battle of belief. Because once the first few games are over, rankings begin to matter less. What matters is execution. Who handles pressure better? Who adapts faster? Who remains composed when the momentum swings? Those answers won't appear on paper. They'll unfold point by point, game by game, as two remarkable competitors attempt to seize control of one of the Citi Open's most intriguing matches. And as fascinating as the tactical battle appears, the bigger picture surrounding both players may be even more significant. If this match ultimately becomes one of the highlights of the Citi Open, it won't be because of a single spectacular shot. It will be because of everything that led to this moment. For Alex Eala, the journey has been anything but ordinary. Not long ago, she was viewed as one of the brightest young prospects in international tennis, a player with undeniable talent, but still searching for consistency against the sport's biggest names. Every tournament brought another lesson, another challenge, and another opportunity to prove that she belonged on the same courts as the world's elite. Then everything began to change. Instead of simply competing, she started believing. Instead of hoping to upset higher-ranked opponents, she stepped onto court expecting to win. That shift in mentality is often what separates talented players from genuine contenders. It's impossible to measure with statistics. You won't find it listed beside aces or winners, but experienced coaches recognize it immediately. A player who believes she belongs at the highest level begins making different decisions under pressure. She plays the important points with confidence instead of fear. She trusts her preparation. Most importantly, she stops worrying about the opponent's reputation. That is perhaps the biggest difference tennis fans have noticed in Alex Eala's recent performances. Her body language has changed. Even after losing difficult points, she rarely appears frustrated for long. She quickly resets, walks confidently to the baseline, and prepares for the next rally. That emotional control could become one of her greatest advantages against someone like Qinwen Zheng, because Zheng is at her most dangerous when she senses hesitation. If an opponent starts doubting herself, even for a few games, Zheng has the ability to take complete control of the match. She attacks relentlessly. She serves with conviction. She forces opponents into defensive positions until mistakes begin to appear. That's why maintaining emotional stability becomes almost as important as executing the right tactics. But there's another layer to this story that deserves attention. The physical demands of modern women's tennis have never been greater. Matches are becoming faster. Rallies are becoming more explosive. Recovery between tournaments has become just as important as training itself. Both Eala and Zheng understand that every match is not simply a test of skill. It's a test of endurance. Long baseline exchanges can gradually wear down even the strongest competitors. A player may look comfortable early in the match, only to find her movement slowing as the contest enters its decisive stages. That's where conditioning begins to influence strategy. If Eala succeeds in extending rallies and making Zheng play extra shots, the physical battle could become just as important as the tactical one. On the other hand, Zheng will likely try to shorten points whenever possible. Quick service games, aggressive returns, early winners. Those are the patterns that usually favor power players. It's a fascinating contrast. One player wants time. The other wants to take it away. One prefers constructing points patiently. The other looks to finish them decisively. Neither approach is automatically better. Success depends entirely on who executes more consistently under pressure. Then comes perhaps the most unpredictable factor in professional tennis: momentum. Unlike many sports, momentum in tennis can disappear almost instantly. A player leading comfortably can suddenly lose confidence after one difficult service game. An underdog who appears outmatched can suddenly catch fire after winning a dramatic rally. That's why experienced fans never judge a match too early. One break of serve is rarely enough. One brilliant set guarantees nothing. Momentum must be earned again and again. And if these two players find themselves locked in a close contest, every small detail could become decisive. Who handles the pressure of serving to stay in a set? Who responds better after losing a long rally? Who stays mentally composed when the crowd becomes louder with every point? Those questions often decide matches between elite competitors. For Alex Eala, answering those questions successfully would represent another important milestone in her rapidly developing career. Not because one victory defines a player, but because competing toe-to-toe with established stars builds something even more valuable than ranking points. It builds belief. The belief that you belong. The belief that future victories are possible. And perhaps the belief that the biggest stages in tennis are no longer dreams, but expectations. As the tournament progresses, every performance will be watched closely by fans, analysts, and fellow players alike. Because everyone is asking the same question: is Alex Eala ready to become one of the consistent contenders on the WTA Tour? And the answer may begin to reveal itself in this unforgettable showdown against Qinwen Zheng. But regardless of who wins, the story doesn't end when the final point is played. In many ways, that's where the next chapter truly begins. As the anticipation builds around this highly anticipated Citi Open clash, it's worth remembering something that often gets overlooked in professional tennis. A single match can influence far more than a player's position in the draw. Sometimes it changes confidence. Sometimes it changes public perception. And occasionally it changes an entire career. That is why so many eyes are fixed on Alex Eala. Every tournament she enters now carries a different level of expectation than it did just a year ago. She is no longer simply a talented young player with potential. She had become one of the emerging faces of women's tennis, inspiring a new generation of fans, especially in the Philippines, who now believe that competing with the world's best is no longer just a dream. But with growing popularity comes growing responsibility. Opponents prepare more carefully. Analysts study every strength and every weakness. Every victory raises expectations. Every defeat becomes headline news. That's the reality of becoming one of the sport's rising stars. The challenge isn't reaching the top level. The challenge is staying there. For Qinwen Zheng, however, the motivation is equally powerful. Established champions understand something that younger players are still learning. Reputation alone never wins tennis matches. Every season begins at zero. Every tournament demands the same commitment. Every opponent believes they can produce the upset that captures headlines around the world. That is why experienced champions rarely underestimate anyone. They know that confidence, momentum, and hunger can sometimes outweigh rankings. And Alex Eala arrives with all three. If this match becomes the battle many fans expect, the deciding factor may not be raw power or even technical ability. It may come down to composure. Who remains calm when facing breakpoint? Who makes the smarter decision during the longest rallies? Who trusts their game when everything is on the line? Those questions separate good players from great competitors. They also create the unforgettable moments that tennis fans remember for years. Regardless of the final result, this meeting represents another significant milestone in Alex Eala's remarkable journey. Every opportunity to compete against elite opposition accelerates a player's development. Victories build confidence. Defeats provide lessons. Both are essential ingredients in building a championship career. For Zheng, meanwhile, every strong performance reinforces why she continues to command respect throughout the tennis world. Elite athletes understand that success isn't measured by one spectacular afternoon. It's measured by consistency over months and years. That's exactly what makes this matchup so compelling. One player is writing the early chapters of what could become a remarkable career. The other continues adding to a resume already filled with impressive achievements. Different stages, different pressures, the same determination to win. And perhaps that's the greatest beauty of professional tennis. Every tournament tells a new story. Every match introduces a fresh challenge. Every point creates another opportunity for greatness. As the hard-court season continues and attention gradually shifts toward the U.S. Open, performances like this will become increasingly important. Momentum earned today can carry into the biggest tournaments of the year. Confidence gained in one match often fuels success in the next. That's why neither player will treat this contest as just another stop on the calendar. For both competitors, it represents another opportunity to prove something to themselves, to their teams, and to millions of fans watching around the world. Whether you're supporting Alex Eala, cheering for Qinwen Zheng, or simply enjoying world-class tennis, this is exactly the type of matchup that reminds us why sport remains so captivating. It's unpredictable, it's emotional, and until the final point is played, absolutely anything can happen. So settle in, enjoy every rally, and appreciate the incredible talent on display. Because matches like these are about far more than who wins or loses. They're about ambition, they're about resilience, and they're about two extraordinary athletes continuing to shape the future of women's tennis. If you enjoyed this coverage, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates, match previews, breaking tennis news, and exclusive stories from the WTA Tour. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Tennis